Hello everyone and welcome back to the Plutonium Show. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you had a great weekend. We've got quite a bit to talk about today, particularly with regards to the LA fires. First of all, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who has been directly affected or who knows people who have been directly affected. We went through something very similar in Australia. Gosh, now almost 6 years ago. It was the end of 2019, so 5 years ago roughly. And we know how devastating these natural disasters can be. So please, everyone, stay safe. And yeah, I suppose let's get right into it. Before we get into the more serious topics for today, on the 9th of January, it was the Princess of Wales' 43rd birthday. And Prince William shared a never before seen photo of the princess on their Instagram with the loveliest caption: "To the most incredible wife and mother, the strength you've shown over the last year has been remarkable. George, Charlotte, Louis, and I are so proud of you. Happy birthday, Catherine. We love you, William." Just very genuine and very, very sweet. May she have a much easier and much healthier year and life ahead of her, because last year was definitely, we can all say, I'm sure with certainty, the most difficult year of her life. And she has gone through it. She's still with us. And long may she live. All right. So, as I mentioned in the intro, the LA fires. Now, it's unfortunate that the likes of Meghan and Harry always seem to not only gravitate towards tragedy. I mean, that's why I think on the thumbnail, thumbnail? What's a thumbnail? On the thumbnail, I'm going to refer to them as tragedy vultures. That's what I came up with. Others have come up with much better names or much better descriptors, such as trauma tourists, disaster tourists I've seen. So that gives you an idea of what we're going to be talking about today. Now, before we get into that, Netflix, her show with Envy, as I called it last week, Meghan, has been delayed. So it was due to come out on the 15th of January, so next week. And I was all mentally prepping myself for the torture that I would have to endure, and not only watching it, but paying attention to report back to all of you. But it's been delayed till the 4th of March. Meghan announced, I believe, through People magazine, because, you know, they're her favorite mouthpiece. And the reason that has been cited is the wildfires that have devastated her hometown of LA. And that's really the theme of this entire episode, to be honest. This whole concept of, sorry, Meghan, we're not buying it. We're not buying this act of you caring, this humanitarian, the volunteering that you've been doing. And, you know, we're going to get into that. Trust me. I'm not buying it. I'm sure a lot of you are not buying it, if not all of you. Because she's really shown her cards over these last 5 years or so, even more, ever since she met Harry, the last 6-7 years, 2018. Her father getting dreadfully ill, and she's like, I'm going to get married anyway. See ya. See ya never, which is how it ended up playing out. So what I mean by all this is she pretends to care so much that she's delayed her show by almost 2 months when she didn't give 2 hoots about Prince Philip lying in his deathbed when they gave that infamous Oprah interview 4 years ago now, almost. So you're going to delay your Netflix show, but you didn't bother delaying the Oprah interview, even though you knew exactly what you were doing and you were going to hit them right where it hurts while they had the patriarch of the family dying. Not to mention, of course, the whole Netflix series, which was also released during the mourning period. The royal family were still very much mourning the passing of the Queen around that time in early December. Basically, barely 2 months since the Queen. 2 months? 3 months? I can do math. since the Queen's passing. And so I'm not buying it. Your father, you drove 92 or so. How long is it? 92 miles? I don't know. Montecito is quite far away from LA. But they drove all that way. Apparently, it's a 2-hour one-way trip to do what they did, which we're going to get into. But she couldn't drive a little bit further. It's not as close as LA. But she couldn't get on a private jet, because we know she loves getting on those, to see her ailing father when he, A, had a heart attack, and then B, had a severe stroke. So you see what I mean? This is all... I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I really don't think she cares. And she expects us. She really thinks that this whole delaying tactic is going to paint her in such a wonderful, light. Look at me. I am so benevolent. I am so selfless that I managed to convince Netflix to delay my show by 2 months, for 2 months, because I care so much. All right. How about we find out exactly how much she cares? Remember last week, I believe before these fires even broke out, I said that Meghan Markle is only a humanitarian. She only cares about the plight of others if there are cameras there to document her caring. Otherwise, she's nowhere to be seen. Even though she had just debuted her Instagram, we heard nothing about the horrible attack in New Orleans, not even a story, nothing. But we know based on her history at Uvalde, that this woman is, as I referred to in the intro, a tragedy vulture. Anything that she can use to boost her own profile, whether it's the death of her dog, which we will get to towards the end of the episode, the death of children, school children, gunned down in a massacre, or this tragic loss that people are still going through in LA, we know nothing is beneath her. She will stoop to any level if it means she gets camera time, attention, self-promotion, and accolades, from her minions, what little of them are left. So they released a statement on their Sussex.com website, even though they have nothing to do with the county of Sussex. I mean, I will never be able to make sense of that, okay? They've been there once, and somehow their website is Sussex.com. Make it make sense, it will never make sense. Now, I'm not going to read the statement they released. I'm not even going to bother. The only reason we know about it as the world, who is visiting Sussex.com? Come on. Who's visiting their website, which is very poorly designed and difficult, and not difficult. It's not difficult, but it's just not, it's a clunky website to navigate around. Who's actually visiting the link to their Archwell Foundation to see a statement? No one. They alerted the news about the fact that they released a statement, because no one cares. This is what I'm trying to get to. They are not public. Well, they are public figures. They are not official people. They don't hold an official role. They are private citizens. No matter how many times they use the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, especially in the United States, in a non-Commonwealth country, those titles mean nothing. Their position means nothing. And so anytime they make a public statement, the first thought that crosses my mind is, who asked you? Who cares what you have to say? Why does it matter what you have to say? And the reason it bothers me so much, you will understand as we progress through this episode. Because normally I'd be like, who cares? This isn't something worth getting irritated over. Let them post whatever they want. But when it comes to matters of life and death, and as I said, capitalizing off these tragedies, what kind of a human being wouldn't be irritated and even angered by these grifters and their tactics. So I'm not going to read it. Who cares what they have to say? Next, because that wasn't enough to get them airtime, I suppose. People didn't care. It's like, yeah, great. The statement was a bunch of nothing, from what I gather. We hear that they are opening their house to friends and family. Like it's a big deal. They have a 16-bathroom mansion. And oh my God, they had to announce to the world through, I believe, Vanity Fair, that they're doing what all of us do, or all of us would do if we were in their shoes, with much less resources. If you have a 1-bedroom apartment and you have a friend who lost their home, I'm sure you would let them stay with you until they can get back on their own 2 feet. It's nothing worth announcing to the world. It really isn't. It's the bare minimum, actually, if you ask me. Allowing people you know and trust, your friends and family, not even strangers, just your friends and family, to come stay with you. And yet they thought that was worth leaking to the press so that they can get the proverbial pats on their shoulder and on their little heads like toddlers and the gold star to tell them, good job. Good job. You're such good people. But even that wasn't enough. And so they took it a step further, or I should say 92 miles further, or whatever the distance is, when they decided to show up at Pasadena, World Central Kitchen, Pasadena, where the owner of the World Central Kitchen, Jose Andre, I think is how you pronounce his name, is a very good friend of theirs, by the way. So I'm assuming they used him as their in. How convenient that they ended up showing up at a place where they had a connection, not just a place where tragedy struck. Maybe then it will be more believable that they care, but no. They had to have an in. And into what, you ask me? Well, to the cameras, of course.
They just arrived here not that long ago, and we were alerted to the fact that they were here. You see, there we have a better shot of Princess Markle as Meghan, as she's wearing that LA ball cap, hanging out with the commoners, I guess. That's one way to put it, huh, Marla? Princess Markle, she left that little group, and now she's getting down and dirty. She truly wants to help. She's in her civvies and not exactly glammed up, but she bent over that plastic bin. It looked as if she was literally going to start helping people. She's offering up hugs, which are so needed.
I'm sorry. I should have warned you all to get a sick bucket like I did last week, because who on earth is Princess Markle? How did this reporter get a job on Fox News, or on any network for that matter? I mean, Fox News is pretty big. I thought they vetted people. I thought there was an interview process. I thought they made sure that people who appear on camera representing them, Fox News, would know at least the bare minimum about the topic of the day and who they're talking about. You can argue Meghan wasn't the topic of the day. Of course she wasn't. I mean, she wanted to be. And arguably, this coverage made it seem like, oh my God, Princess Markle shows up amongst us commoners. What is this vomit-inducing bullshit? Excuse my language. There are people who have died and people who have lost everything. This fire didn't discriminate. We have celebrities like Paris Hilton who lost their whole home, burnt down to the ground. And this reporter, whoever the hell she is, says, oh, Princess Meghan is here, mixing with us commoners. I'm going to move on. We see more coverage from BBC News as well. And what I noticed in these videos, in this footage, well, I've noticed many things. First of all, the woman's decked in jewelry. I don't know about you, but if I were rushing out to volunteer and help people in a disaster zone, I wouldn't think about stacking my usual stack of gold on my wrist and my rings and my diamonds and all that. Maybe that's just me. You let me know. Maybe I'm an uncultured swine. And don't forget to let your hair down. Isn't the first thing you do when you're getting to work tying up your hair as a woman? And of course, don't forget your bodyguards. Because you are so important that you can't even go to a place ravaged, literally, by fire, by devastation, where people are probably unaware of who the heck you are. But you can't go there without your bodyguards because you're Princess Markle. Just ask Fox News. And you need protection. If that doesn't tell you where her heart is and her husband's heart, actually, because he, don't get me wrong, Harry's in on this. He's complicit. He always likes to say that about his family. Oh, if you're complicit, or if you're complacent, you're complicit. You're in on this. Well, that same applies to you, buddy. You can talk the talk. How are you allowing this if you care? Because it looks bad. It looks like you're just cut from the same cloth as her. You want the headlines. You want to be seen in a certain way. And you're literally using victims to make yourself look good. You see where the irritation and the anger is coming from? It's despicable. It's despicable. And what's more despicable is the likes of Fox News and BBC giving them this coverage and giving them these headlines when they should just be focusing on the devastation and how to help people and raising awareness. Because I tell you what, Meghan and Harry have done nothing to raise awareness about this devastation. All they've done is distract people. Because that's all they do. They're just an annoying distraction. They contribute nothing. I literally just Googled, just now before I started this segment, just to make sure, giving them a chance, whether they donated a single cent to this cause. And look, it takes me hours to edit this thing and get it out for you guys. So if in the meantime they've done it, my apologies, I stand corrected. But if they haven't, so far, they haven't. So you show up, you think your face is good enough. You think showing up and standing there and hugging people, because that's all she did. If you look at this footage, I can only play clips because of copyright, but go ahead and look at the full videos. That is literally all she does. Invading people's personal space and putting on her best, oh, I care face, which, by the way, Meghan, every day I start to understand why you failed in Hollywood, because you suck at even that. And that's all she did. The mask was down so that the cameras, there's no mistake. It's Meghan Markle, Princess Meghan. Princess Markle, I think is how she referred to her. But that's it. And it's bad when the mayor, I believe it's the mayor of Pasadena, Gordo, was forced to defend Meghan and Harry when he said
they didn't come out here for publicity. They came out here to work. And
really, hugging people who probably don't want your body all over them and passing around a sandwich or two that you didn't even make. I'm going to assume they didn't make them because this is the world kitchen thing, and I'm assuming other people who actually know how to make sandwiches made them, because we know Meghan Markle isn't the best in the kitchen.
So today we're making toast, a very fancy version of toast. Yes, but it doesn't have to feel overwhelming.
I mean, is it any wonder she's delaying her show? Some people think it's because she wants to work on it some more. I wouldn't be surprised. This is what I'm saying. Normally, if it were anyone else, I'd be like, that's not fair. That's not fair. This is her hometown. She probably just wants to be respectful. But no, to me, because of how much I know about her over the past few years of covering her, it screams, I need more time to fix it, or she wants the backlash that she got, all the negativity, all the criticism when the trailer aired, to die down. She wants people to forget all about the negative, aspects of the trailer and tune in 2 months later because she thinks we all have the memory of goldfish and we'll forget. That's what I think about the Netflix delay. But they came out here to work. So apparently, tell me, Mr. Gordo, this is what he reveals about Prince Harry, okay? This is the level of work and commitment and selflessness and philanthropy Prince Harry is capable of showing and doing. According to the mayor, Harry even sourced a donut for one of the fire victims. Applause, everyone. If you can stand up, I can't because I'll pull out my earphones. Please, standing ovation for the prince. The prince, Prince Harry, sourced one donut for a victim. And they had to put it on the news. It was so newsworthy that the mayor had to convey that. All right, guys, just a quick break to thank Ground News for partnering with us on this episode. We have an offer for 40% off if you sign up for a Vantage plan through my link, which is in the description box at check.ground.news/Lost Beyond Pluto. You get 40% off a Vantage plan, which gives you full access to both Ground News, the website version, and the mobile app. And if you're wondering what Ground News is, well, if you've been keeping on top of this news, for instance, with the LA fires and all other all other global events, and you're looking for unbiased news sources, then Ground News is the place for you. You get told about the political leanings and the biases of publications. And Ground News, most importantly, is independent. They are sourced entirely off of subscriptions, and that's how they remain impartial. So if you would like to support a platform that believes in transparency and neutrality, in addition to supporting yours truly, then go ahead and click the link, and hopefully you'll make good use of it. You know what's really sad? I'm actually I've always been open to giving Meghan and Harry the benefit of the doubt. I really always am. I even remember their high-speed car chase that never was in New York. I waited almost 2 days after it all happened to release a video, to even make a video, because I wanted to hear their side. I wanted to hear an explanation. I wanted to know what their story was, but they had none. They were outed by the taxi driver, by the mayor, by police. They were outed. And so even in this instance, the first glimpse I got of their presence there was a grainy screenshot on social media. And I thought, maybe someone, a passerby, a victim of the fires, was there and he saw them or they saw them and they snapped a photo of them on their phone. Because again, that's what it looked like. It looked grainy from a distance, and they shared it on social media. And I was like, are they actually there unannounced, incognito, helping people on the ground? And of course, lo and behold, not 5 minutes later, I almost, kicked myself. I should know better. Because I saw the footage from Fox News. Who alerted Fox News to be there and film them and call them Princess Markle and Prince Harry? I mean, he is Prince Harry. So I don't get me wrong. He's a born prince. He's a blood royal. We can refer to him as Prince Harry. That's fine. But who alerted Fox News? I want to know that. How is it that the news happened to be there in the short time that Meghan and Harry happened to be there? What a coincidence. What a coincidence. This just keeps getting worse, by the way. Somehow, someone thought, perhaps even Meghan herself, that was the time to not only show up and hog the cameras and do what they're best at doing, all this tragedy tourism. But somehow someone thought it was okay to merch the clothing that Meghan put on for this appearance. You cannot make this up. While she stands there in the midst of that devastation, perhaps she thought, but I don't want to put it all on her because I have no evidence. Someone thought, if not her, that it was the right thing to do to put up images of her weird ass sneakers. Sorry, but those are one of the ugliest sneakers I have ever seen. And her cap and her jeans and her shirt. Oh, where you can get that and this is what she wore. By the way, the same thing happened at Uvalde. The exact same thing happened. I believe the website is called Dressed Like a Duchess. They're merching her clothes. I'm actually speechless at this point. I know I've been talking this whole time, but when I pause and there's a silence, I genuinely don't know what else to say. I really don't. I'm sorry. It just keeps getting worse. I really do apologize. Usually I try to make these episodes feel good episodes with moments of levity, which I will try to inject at the end so we can end on a high note. But after all this, after this performance that they made sure was caught on camera, they decided, or the officials, let's put this on the officials there, the mayor. The mayor and Gavin Newsom and his wife, who, by the way, I saw a video of her distributing food, but with her hair done and her jewels on and her makeup on. And it takes away from, just for me, I could be wrong. It just takes away from it all, you know? It just makes it seem like you had to stop and get yourself all, you know, glammed up before you were helping people who've lost everything. It takes it away from me. I don't know. It takes away from the authenticness. You know, if we're going to authenticity, rather, if we're going to use Meghan's lingo. I'm not a fan. I mean, I saw photos of Jennifer Garner there, cap down, hair tied up, no makeup. That's believable. That's someone who didn't think about herself and what she looked like, even though she's a Hollywood A-lister. Leagues beyond Meghan. Sorry, I have to pause for plane. It's passed. But she was there. She was there to help out. I believe she lost a friend as well to these fires. So there are genuine celebrities out there. Don't get me wrong. There are many celebrities, in fact, who've donated millions. I know Jamie Lee Curtis's family donated $1 million. I believe Selena Gomez donated millions. Paris Hilton. And there's this actor that, sorry, maybe I'm on the younger side. I'd never heard of him before. Steve Guttenberg, who was there physically running around helping in any way he can. So there are celebrities who are also genuine human beings who care. And they wanted to be there to help. Not Meghan and Harry. But they were given private tours of other people's homes, or what was left of them, when these very people weren't allowed to go to the site of the devastation themselves. Imagine that. Imagine you couldn't go see what's left of your home or your friends or your families, your relatives. But these two nobodies, these strangers who get to drive back to their mansion, which, look, I am grateful nothing's happened to them in their home. I'm not someone who wishes evil upon people. Thank goodness that their home and their children and everything is safe and sound. But they get to go back to that. At the end of the day, they're fine with their 16 bathrooms, which they've only opened up to friends. Shame on the officials. Shame on everyone in this group photo, which Meghan wasted no time getting people set up. You stand here, you stand here, you stand there. We know that's her favorite thing to do. Before conveniently placing herself right there, smack bang in the middle. All these people in that photo, shame on you. Not just for posing for that photo and giving them the photo op, the official, seal of approval that they clearly came all the way for. That's what she wanted, by the way. Meghan really cares about who she's seen with. Even before Harry, it's so important to her who she's seen with. But the mayor, Gavin Newsom, his wife, anyone who agreed to these private tours, anyone involved in those decisions, shame on you. Because when you do this, you legitimize them. You give their grift legitimacy. Not everyone knows about Meghan and Harry and what they get up to. It's actually a very small bubble of us, Most people don't care. And so when they see this, they go, oh, good on them. Oh, look, we have royals down, in America. Royals, right. I couldn't think of two people who are, well, actually I could. But in terms of right now on my mind, I couldn't think of two people who could be less royal than these two. And one of them is a blood royal. So that's saying something. I want to close off this topic by saying this. The truth is, minus these disgusting private tours, where they're cosplaying the King and Queen of Spain. Recently, Spain was devastated by floods, and the King and Queen went there on foot, physically, to meet their people. But there's a huge difference there. They're the King and Queen of Spain. They're not grifting ex-royals who shat all over the royal family, the monarchy, and their country. They couldn't be more far apart. Queen Letizia, she cared. She was crying. The king, you could see the pain on his face, and the queen in Spain. And it's their job. It's their job to be seen there, to be amongst their people at their time of need. Not Meghan and Harry, because they quit. And because America doesn't have royalty anyway. But the truth is, minus these tours, everything they did, even if it was nothing, even if it was just handing off pre-made sandwiches, hugging people, sourcing a donut, it really wouldn't have been a problem had they just done it incognito, had they not alerted the press. If someone actually genuinely caught them by surprise, on their phone, it wouldn't have bothered me. I would have been like, look, they're doing something. They came all the way to do something, and they're doing it genuinely because they didn't alert the press. But they did. And that's what makes it disgusting. That's what takes away from any good deed that they'll ever do. And that's why people refuse to believe anything comes from a good place, especially when Meghan Markle is involved. Meghan's dog, Guy, small little beagle, died. I was about to say recently died, but the truth is we don't know when he passed. All we know is that Meghan released a video a few days ago announcing his passing. Now, upon first review of this video, I was very touched because I didn't think about Meghan. I just thought about the dog. I've been aware of Guy throughout the years. Guy is the little dog that had both his front legs broken through some horrific accident. We don't know what the accident was, but my heart went out to her in a way because I felt bad. That's my instinct. But then I was kind of reading the news about just keeping on top of it, for the podcast. And when you type in her name, you get all sorts of stuff. It's not just it's not just the topics that you're personally interested in, right? So there were a lot of topics about the passing of her dog, but more importantly, people doubting her intentions. It's the same thing with the LA fires, except this announcement was made before the fire. But this is a case study of what happens when people see through your act and suddenly suspicion is cast upon every little thing that you do, especially when that thing involves feelings, sadness, loss. When it comes to Meghan Markle, honestly, I doubt she's even capable of feeling these emotions. Love, selflessness. Everything she does comes across as self-serving. And this is a classic case of the woman who cried wolf, or I should say, I'm not trying to be distasteful here, but given that her dog has passed, the woman who cried wolf. You know, people aren't buying it. Instantly, everyone's spidey senses went up and went, really? You posted a clip where you're supposedly making jam to not only, I suppose, promote your now possibly defunct, American Riviera orchard, but to prove to us that you made the jam? Really? You just had to put that clip in. Even photos of her kids were from the back. One of them looked like a photo shoot of her and supposedly Lily. So was this a genuine tribute to your dog? Or was it another way to plug your show, your clothing, you know, to merch your show, your clothing, and to tantalize us? You know, like, oh, look at my kids, I'm dangling them in front of you. When honestly, Meghan, no one cares. They're a non-entity to us, your children. And if people think, oh, how cruel, you're all doubting her when she lost her dog. I mean, apart from everything I just said, especially the part where she's merching her wares and she's all glammed up in almost every photo in the montage. I don't know about you, but when I'm holding my cat, I'm not necessarily dressed to the nines. But again, maybe I'm just an uncultured swine. Like I said earlier, I'm hopeless. But it's not just that. When you think about the fact that she abandoned her other dog, her first dog, Bogart, who was only, 5 years old? 4 years old in 2017? She adopted him. I know this because I've done my research ages ago. Late 2012, I think. He was a puppy. So when she met Harry in 2016, he was only 4. And then when she left for the UK, I would assume he was 5 or turning 5. Maybe not even 5. And she said, oh, he was too old. Since when is a 5-year-old dog old? But she left him, never to be seen again. And I really hope he was left with someone who actually loves him and takes care of him and didn't just use him for Instagram photos. Because that's what it looks like his purpose was in her life, like everyone else in her life. We're all just props. I'm not in her life, thank God, but they're all just props. And that's why I doubt whether she even actually truly ever loved her dog Guy. I really do doubt it. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. Because what kind of a monster would use her dog for a pity play in the midst of all this Netflix trailer backlash and people making fun of it and criticizing it? Is it any wonder people are wondering whether this is a perfectly timed PR ploy? What if Guy passed months ago? You could argue she didn't have an Instagram, but why announce it at all? I don't know. These are just questions because this woman is heartless. What she did to Prince Philip on his deathbed, the Queen in her last years, Catherine when she was going through cancer, and what the Sussex squad were doing to her during that time, Meghan could have said something. You can't convince me that they don't have some kind of form of communication. Maybe it's not direct because Meghan sees the Sussex squad as beneath her, trust me. But we know they're in some kind of communication because Harry thanked them for donations or whatnot sent to Bali. They know about them. They could have stopped them in their tracks and said, hey, back off. She's sick. Have some decency. You're not representing us when you behave this way. But no, it only got worse and worse and worse. And I bet you that Meghan was sitting back in her mansion at the time, you know, apart from planning her disastrous, spontaneous announcement of what I like to call American, racism orchestra, American Riviera Orchard, in case anyone's confused. Because we know she announced that pretty much on par with around the same time as Catherine's announcement. But apart from that, she was sitting back, feet up, cackling, is what I imagine. Obviously, I don't know. but that's what it looked like. And so when you look at her track record of how she's treated her father, her entire family on both sides, and then her in-laws, don't forget her ex-husband, her first dog. Is it any wonder that we're all doubting the authenticity and the sincerity of her tribute to her dog? I'm going to close off with a joke because I said I would like us to end on somewhat of a high note. It's been quite a heavy start to the year in terms of the news. Of course, there's good news in the world. It's just not advertised. It's all by design to keep us all depressed. But get a load of this. This is a bit old. It's a week old, but it was published after my podcast last week. So that's why I haven't brought it up yet. Instagram accidentally blocked last week the hashtag for Meghan's new show, With Love Meghan, and issued a warning that the name could be linked to Child SA before admitting to mistake. You can't make this up. So if you hashtagged With Love Meghan, you can see here in this screenshot, they've hidden the results. And then they tell you that Child SA is illegal. We think that your search might be associated with Child SA. I don't know. Is this karma? This is some kind of twisted joke the universe is playing. I refuse to interpret it in any other way. This is hilarious. And I don't know if she was trying to block the hashtag by contacting Instagram using, people that she knows in high places, and then it backfired and the algorithm messed it up. I don't know. All I know is that this is hilarious. It's hilarious. And to me, it's karma. And no one can convince me otherwise. All right, everyone. That's about all the time I have for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. And please stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you next week. Take care.